Okay,
Thanks.
so thanks for being able to join. We have on the call, we have Chief, we have you. I can't see who's in the room. Is that Jack?
Jack,
Yes, Jack.
Amy, June, and Ryan.
Amy, June, and Ryan. Got it. Okay. And then on the line we have David and we have Matt and we also have Falco. So thanks for being able to pop on. Appreciate it. Doesn't look like we have anybody on the from the public here. Is there anybody in the room as far as with
Yeah.
you? Okay.
No.
All right. So no public comments on the agenda. So nobody from the public. Approval of previous meeting minutes from August 27th. Let me just pull those up. So we had, as far as old business, we talked about candidate updates. We had 3 police officers who were approved to hire pending their psychological evaluation and doctor physical exam. Target date for new officers to be sworn in on September 23rd, 2024. Just verifying all that happened last night. We're good to go.
Yes, they were. I came and chatted with them, and Chief Hawk did a great job with the families, giving them a tour afterwards, and they did it first thing in the meeting, which was nice. So the families didn't have to wait around for all the zoning and whatnot afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
That's a nutshell.
Yeah,
And then
it was nice. The guys were all very they said a few words. I think in all cases their mom came up and pinned their badge on. Oh no, one was a wife.
I think we had a wife and 2 mothers.
A wife and 2 moms came up and pinned their badges on them. And the Bartoshewitz, is that how Bartoshevitz, oh gosh. He's a volunteer at the Highland Fire Department. So Highland showed up, the fire department. So there were a lot of firefighters in the room. That was nice. Show of support.
great. And we'll talk more about the next piece, which is the sergeant lieutenant's process. We'll talk about that in the agenda for today. Just talking about as far as the old minutes, the new business we discussed from last meeting that were in the minutes, where also Matt Shipley had volunteered and had headed up some process improvement meetings and discussions. So we'll have that for executive session because there's some sensitive information in there we want to discuss. So do we have a motion to approve last month's meetings? That's August 27th meeting.
I make the motion.
Okay.
No, the minutes, right?
Minutes, correct.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks. All right. Next up, old business, next steps for sergeant process. So we had the sergeants, we had 2 sergeants take the sergeant exam yesterday at 1 p.m., roughly 2-hour testing. We forwarded those pieces to Jen Packer. Jen is, I believe she's probably already submitted those through as far as for the scoring, and so we're awaiting the scores. What we've been asked as from a council perspective is that pending the score outcome, and if one or both would be eligible for the next process, which would be the oral interviews, if we can do that quickly. So right now I don't have a time frame. I don't know when we can expect to see scores. I mean, because we're already into Tuesday. Are we going to get it by Friday? Possibly. So just wanted to ask, generally speaking, as far as that we remain flexible and we talk about what that is. Now, as far as with the sergeant process, as far as any patrolmen as sergeants, Chief, do we have any folks that are eligible as far as for that? I believe we have 5 or 6. Is that accurate?
That would be eligible for a sergeant's test.
Yeah.
The majority of the agency, Justin, I could put a number on it if you give me a few minutes, but it's going to be certainly north of the number you just gave. It's probably,
Okay, great.
Yeah, 10, 15, if not more.
Okay. So pending as far as the results of, in the event that we would have sergeants move to lieutenants, how many sergeant roles in total do we need to fill? Do we have any openings? And I apologize, my mind is wandering a little bit. Do we have any openings right now for sergeant roles that need to be filled?
At the moment, there are none. Depending on how the lieutenant process plays out over the coming months,
Yep.
there could be probably 1 if depending on, you know, what type of promotion council approves, there could be one opening up in the patrol division. And then I anticipate Sergeant Guzzo retiring. I don't know if that'll be in 2025. He has discussed that. And so that's possible too. So there could be a second one. There could be up to two, in my estimation, in 2025.
Great, thanks. So more to follow as we get more details from council on promotion and what the work structure is going to move towards. Do we have anybody from council in the room? Am I missing someone?
Jack.
Hey, Jack, hey Jack. So Jack, maybe we could save this as far as for the executive session discussion, as far as some of the behind the scenes pieces for the personnel. So for old business, any other discussion on old business? Okay. Now to new business. So we had the written exam for the sergeant lieutenants. I know I briefly stated that. So when I asked for flexibility, wanted to see if anyone may be available for Saturday or Sunday potentially. Just gonna pose that out there as far as availability timeframes. I probably am looking at somewhere between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. would be the interview timeframes, and probably need an hour per. So is there any availability from the board as far as that might be available from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Saturday?
I could do that.
Okay. So there's one.
I may be able to. I have to check though.
Okay. Two.
We'll be away.
Okay. I think I'll be able to be available as well. I'll make every effort to make sure I am. We have some hockey tournament stuff going on. Always fun.
Is
Okay.
Rita out of town? I know she is.
Rita's out of town this week.
Okay.
So yeah, we'd probably be then limited to you, Amy, David, and myself then, as far as to kind of usher that through.
Well, it would mean all three of us would have to be available because Matt's out of town.
Yep. All right.
I will try to find out as soon as I can.
So and quite frankly, David, in full transparency, I don't know when we could realistically expect the written scores to come through. I wanted to be able to respond as quickly as possible, just given the need and knowing that Chief is going to be out of town for a while, starting very soon. So,
And we're just making
Oh,
sure their written scores are meeting the minimum, right? There's, what is it, 70, 80, whatever the minimum is. Right.
so yeah, once it's scored, yeah, whatever that minimum is, and
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
a much more in-depth test from the patrol officer test for new candidates. So I'm not sure if the scoring is going to be more complex. I'm guessing it probably will be.
For these interviews, is that something Chief should be at?
I would love to be. I'll probably be out of town when you guys do this round, David. Supposed to move to Quantico on Saturday.
Oh, it's on Saturday. I thought you were leaving like tomorrow. I'm just wondering if it was like the next weekend, if that would, instead of this weekend, a week from this weekend. But
And I'll work with you, Chief, as far as to see what we can do, because I definitely want you to be part of those conversations. I don't imagine we're going to be able to interview on this Saturday, quite frankly. I just don't. More to follow. I'll follow up as far as the schedules. You'll see emails coming through as far as schedule availability, and make sure we're communicating that so we can nail down the interview process once we get scores. Any thoughts, questions, concerns on that piece as far as so we can move on to the next? I put it on the agenda piece as far as the executive session needed to discuss some personnel matters as it pertains to staffing and actual personnel and some of that strategy. So haven't like formally announced otherwise as far as an executive session. So any other thoughts, questions, concerns regarding an executive session? Because right now it's 5:11. I imagine we'll be able to get there pretty soon. Okay. So to respond to these complaints.
I was just going to say, just from a process perspective, would it make sense, just in case we discuss anything that we want to take action on in the executive session? Would it make sense instead of adjourning, especially since there's no public here? Should we move to reconvene and then just immediately reconvene after the executive session? If there's something to do, we can do it. If not, we can immediately adjourn. I don't know if that's something that's allowed, Falco.
You definitely could. My only concern is what would be added to the agenda, because we're limited in what we are permitted to add to the agenda that wasn't posted. So,
Okay.
So
You
I,
could make a motion to add it to the agenda if necessary.
yeah,
But-
right.
I mean, given where some of my conversation, I think we're going to go with the personnel matters. I think it's moot. I think it doesn't matter. As
All
far
right.
as I think we can adjourn safely and before we do anything else, because I think it's
Okay.
required for the time. Okay. So nobody from the public snuck in, nobody's online, nobody's in the room. So public comments, looks like there's no public. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll
So
move to
moved.
adjourn.
Second
Can I have
it.
a second? All right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Oppose? Not oppose? Okay. We can stop recording and end the stated meeting, and we'll go into executive session.